The woman had been starving on the deserted island for 10 days. After finally managing to catch a few small fish, she didn't eat a single one. Instead, she crushed the fish into pieces and dumped them all into the sea. Then she picked up a sharpened wooden stick and stared intensely at the water, as if waiting for something. Soon, a shark was drawn in by the smell of blood. Seizing the moment, the woman raised the stick and struck with all her strength, killing the shark in one blow. She was so excited she felt like she'd hit the jackpot, screaming joyfully in the water. Strangely, she didn't eat the shark right away. After night fell, she hung it from a tree and hid herself in a sand pit she had dug earlier, quietly watching, clearly trying to lure something out. While waiting, she accidentally fell asleep. When she woke up again, she was horrified to find the shark gone. Only the empty rope remained. That's when she realized there must be another intelligent creature on the island, besides herself. To prepare for danger, she searched along the coastline for useful supplies. After walking only a short distance, she discovered half of the shark washed ashore by the waves. The deep, terrifying claw marks on its body froze her in place. This was clearly not damage caused by an ordinary creature. Even worse, when she returned from the beach, she found her companion's body torn in half, leaving behind blood-stained sand. She realized the mysterious monster wasn't just feeding on fish anymore. Fear filled her heart. She quickly sharpened wooden sticks with stones, turning them into spears for protection, and cautiously searched the island for a place to hide. After wandering for a long time with no luck, she noticed strange sounds coming from a tree hollow nearby. Fighting back her fear, she slowly approached and bent down to investigate, only to discover it was just a bird. She let out a long sigh of relief, but the tension quickly returned. Without a proper hiding place, she feared the creature might attack at any moment. She gathered palm leaves and thick wooden stakes to build a temporary shelter, ready to defend herself if the monster appeared. Just then, she noticed something floating on the surface of the sea. She pulled it ashore and discovered it was another companion who had gone missing in the shipwreck. His body clearly showed signs of being dragged, and the claw marks on his face were identical to those on the shark. Determined to uncover the truth, the woman used the same tactic again. She tied the body securely to a tree and hid nearby to observe. This time, she stayed fully awake, staring at the bait without blinking. What she saw next made her blood run cold. A monster over 3 meters tall emerged, dragged the body down from the tree, and began to devour it without restraint. The woman was utterly terrified.
女人被吓得大。
She watched the area ahead with intense vigilance, terrified that the monster might discover her. Just then, the roar of an airplane engine suddenly echoed overhead. Her heart leapt with excitement. Seeing that the monster had disappeared, she was about to stand up and rush out for help, when the creature suddenly reappeared right in front of her. She froze instantly, stopping all movement and clamping her hand tightly over her mouth, not daring to make the slightest sound. Fortunately, the monster didn't notice her. Only then did she finally breathe a sigh of relief. She realized she couldn't just sit and wait for death. She had to find a way to escape the island, or sooner or later she would be torn apart by the monster. But the island was nothing but sand and rocks. There were no tools that could help her escape. Just as she was at her wit's end, she noticed a life jacket nearby. A bold idea immediately formed in her mind. She dumped all the clothes out of her suitcase, stuffed the life jacket inside, and tightened every single buckle as much as possible to make it sturdier. Then she dragged the suitcase into the sea, hoping to use it as a flotation device to escape the island. However, she had underestimated her own weight. Before she could climb on, the suitcase flipped over. She tried again and again, but every attempt failed. Completely frustrated, she angrily threw the life jacket aside. With no other choice, she was forced to abandon her escape plan, for now. As night approached, she knew survival came first. She quickly hid inside the tree hollow she had discovered earlier to avoid being found by the terrifying monster. But when night fell, danger still arrived. First came a deafening roar from all directions. Then the entire hollow began to shake violently. Luckily, the outer layer of the tree wasn't very strong, and after a while, the roaring outside finally faded away. She had survived the night without injury. After witnessing how horrifying the monster was, she understood that her top priority now was finding a way to avoid its attacks. As she looked at the palm trees around her, a sudden idea struck her. She picked up a piece of canvas and poked small holes in it with a wooden stick. Then she used ropes and a belt to secure it tightly around a tree. Next, she tied the canvas together with more rope. Before long, a simple elevated hammock was finished. She eagerly climbed onto it. Though the space was extremely cramped, at least it was secure and wouldn't fall. Only by staying off the ground could she avoid the monster and have any hope of surviving. But the nightmare returned quickly. Just as she was about to drift into sleep, a terrifying roar suddenly echoed from beneath the hammock. She jolted awake. Fighting back her fear, she looked down, only to see the monster approaching, dragging her bedsheet behind it. She was instantly paralyzed with fear. She curled deeper into the hammock, clutching her chest tightly. She knew that if she stayed, she would eventually be torn apart alive by the monster. Just then, the woman suddenly noticed a lifeboat drifting on the distant sea. She was overjoyed and immediately swam toward it. But when she got closer, she was shocked to see that the people sitting in the lifeboat were actually her boyfriend and her best friend, whom she had been separated from during the shipwreck. Overwhelmed with happiness, she brought them back to shore. They began collecting usable supplies, planning to use the lifeboat to escape the island. However, after drifting at sea for so long, the boyfriend was finally back on land and refused to leave no matter what, even though the woman desperately explained that there were man-eating monsters on the island. He wouldn't listen. Instead, he thought she had gone crazy and loudly scolded her. Realizing she couldn't persuade him, the woman had no choice but to secretly pack the supplies. She quietly circled to the other side of the forest and, while the two of them weren't paying attention, slowly pushed the lifeboat toward the sea, planning to escape alone. Just as she was about to succeed, her boyfriend rushed over and tightly grabbed her, while her best friend clung to her legs, refusing to let her go. In a moment of desperation, the woman kicked her best friend away and forcefully broke free from her boyfriend's grip. Escape was within reach, but the next second she suddenly sank into the sea and lost consciousness. When she woke up again, it was already night. She found herself tightly bound to a tree. Suddenly, her best friend's scream rang out. Realizing something was terribly wrong, the boyfriend grabbed a torch and rushed out, smashing it toward the monster in front of him, but it was useless. The monster struck back with a powerful blow, sending him flying, then leapt into the sea. The boyfriend still tried to save his best friend, but in the next instant, she was dragged underwater by the monster. Terrified, he froze in place, unable to move. Fortunately, the woman managed to break free from her restraints in time and rushed over, dragging the stunned boyfriend away. After last night's attack, the boyfriend finally regretted not listening to her and not leaving earlier. After that, the two of them worked together, the two of them pushed the lifeboat into the water, planning to take advantage of daylight to escape as quickly as possible. Unbeknownst to them, a monster was silently watching from the depths below. The very next second, a dark shadow streaked rapidly beneath the surface. The boyfriend was startled, and before he could react, a claw suddenly shot up from the water and injured him. Seeing this, Yuan hurriedly pulled up the zipper and sealed the lifeboat shut. She thought this might temporarily protect them from the monster's attack. But to her shock, the monster slashed the bottom of the lifeboat with its claws and thrust its head through the tier. In desperation, the boyfriend pulled out a signal flare gun and fired, hitting the monster in the eye. Screaming in pain, the creature retreated from the cabin. The woman, however, was dragged down to the seabed by the monster. On the verge of suffocating, she quickly pulled out a small knife and stabbed the creature hard in the side. Badly wounded, the monster finally let go, and the woman struggled her way back onto the beach. At that moment, she realized that unless she killed the monster, there was no way she could escape the sea area alive. She began crafting a large number of spears, then gathered piles of wooden sticks and built several fire pits, stuffing them with dry grass to set traps. Soon night fell. The woman poured crushed fish meat as bait into the middle of the fire pits. When the monster fell into the trap, she immediately ignited the fires, using the roaring flames to surround it. Taking advantage of its exhaustion, she circled behind it and raised her weapon. This completely enraged the monster. It grabbed the woman by the face and lifted her into the air, crushing her as if her head were about to burst. At the critical moment, she swiftly pulled out a knife and stabbed the monster in the chest more than 20 times. Amid its agonized cries, the monster finally released her. Seeing that the creature was now barely alive, the woman struggled to her feet and ran toward the shore. She then set the entire forest on fire and quietly waited for rescue teams to arrive.